here with the amazing, fantastic topic that I'm so excited to get right into. But without any further ado, tell us if you're watching this live, tell us what city you're checking in from, where you are logging in from, so you have an opportunity to kind of connect with our ecosystem, fellow high levelers, and digital citizens that are watching. We are live in our community, all of our pages, all of our social channels right now. And I'm excited to tell you that we have an incredible expert who's also a certified admin that I got a chance to meet in person multiple times. She comes to a lot of our events as well and really is a prominent figure in our community. I want to welcome Pamela Dale to our masterclass here around rebuilding funnels. Pamela, welcome in.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be here. And yes, drop where you're from and I'll pop in and we'll have a conversation. I'm Canadian living in Mexico, so there's lots of people from all over the world. Love to know where you're from.
I love it. Pamela, before we get started with funnels, there's a lot of, misunderstandings about rebuilding funnels inside of high level or moving funnels into high level or even websites for that matter. Can you help us understand who you are and your journey before we decide to listen to you? I love who you are and your style and the content you do and your expertise, but there's a lot of people that are absolutely brand new to high level. And I think it'll be good if you can give us a quick 30-second spark notes on your journey as a digital citizen.
Yeah, for sure. So I got this idea that I just didn't want to work for anyone anymore. And I got into the digital marketing world. And all of a sudden, I had to learn how to build these things myself, right? A website and a funnel and things like that. And I got into another funnel building world community and started to realize I had a little bit of a knack for this funnely thing. And people call me techie. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm techie. What I'm really passionate about is using that technology to help people amplify, build first and amplify a business, because that's where we're going to be able to get that freedom that we're after to help build our lives, AKA make money online. And these are absolutely necessary. And my thoughts are, let's just go with the best. And of course, that's high level. And I was really grateful to stumble upon you about 4 years ago and have never looked back. So it's the best out there, and it's wonderful to be here.
I love it. So let's talk about funnels. I think the principle of funnels and the marketing pillars around it are very sound. We all need a certain mechanism that functions like a funnel where you can capture, nurture, and potentially close prospects that are coming into your business. Help us
Right.
understand how you define funnels.
Funnels are a place where you are able to put an offer out and then determine if it's effective. So funnels are different than websites. Websites are flat pages, lovely, but a funnel, I actually put an offer out, I put it in front of you, and I get to see if you're going to convert or if you're going to abandon. And both of those numbers are wonderful because then I have something to work with. I have something that's going to change your life. My offer is going to change your life, but for some reason you didn't purchase or opt in. I want to know why. So I'm going to slowly start to make changes and watch the numbers. So that's why funnels are so effective. It's important for us to know the data. And in high level, we can see more data than we can if we're fragmented on different systems. So I get to see a lot more of that data and I can make more educated decisions because I'd much rather be sitting in that pool than looking around with something that isn't effective because I don't know it's ineffective, right?
Abs
So,
abs Absolutely. So let's take the white elephant out of the way. There
mm,
are so many funnel builders in this world of
right,
marketing.
right.
And what it comes down to is the actual person that's building the funnel and the expertise they have in marketing. So why high level as a funnel builder? If I'm watching this, why should I move my funnels over to high level or rebuild them inside high level as an option? What are your thoughts?
There's a number of thoughts. So, first of all, the software that you build on matters. And as you said, there are 10, 20, we could MarTech or marketing technology, 90,000 pieces out there probably, right? So The first thing you have to take a look at is, does it have, it's never going to have everything that you want, right? HighLevel doesn't have everything that you want, but you need to take a look at, does it have the majority of the pieces? And then the other thing that you need to really watch for is the what's happening out here. So we're talking development. We're talking customer service. We're talking brand. We're talking community. We're talking values. These things out here almost matter more than the software itself. I'm on
Mm,
somebody's newsletter that gives me these little, I won't name the software, bites. And it's got one update a week or a month. HighLevel is 30, 40 a week. We know that there's nothing that HighLevel won't do for us, and we have a vote in what is going to be built here. You cannot reach Sean Clark. If I called him, he would take my call. Like he would take our calls, right? So that
yeah.
really matters when we're talking about building a business. So that's something we really need to take a look at before we ever even think about software. And then, okay, does it have the pieces? And then obviously, 10 pieces of software Zapiered and duct taped together by my pure hustle, the odds of that working are there's so many variables there. Does Zapier go down? Do I know how to do Zapier? Is it even getting done? Because I don't know how to use Zapier. I don't know things can be automated or connected. Versus when I'm in HighLevel and somebody comes to a page, I know what traffic source they came from. I know whether they opted in or didn't, where they did opt in and open that email, but didn't open that one. And they clicked on that and they didn't on this. And then they watched 3% of this video and they did opt in and get that membership offer, but never logged in over there. And I can communicate to them on that level.
I love it. And what I think happens is people don't pay attention to the ecosystem versus ecosystem, and they often look at product versus product from a comparative standpoint. And I feel that the world of high level is an ecosystem that is collaborative. There's a lot of genius marketers that are really smart at what they do. And then you also have developers mixed in there. They're not all marketers. So this creates technology opportunities and solution opportunities that are just so much more elevated than many other ecosystems that I'm part of. And Pamela, just to keep our conversation even more tight, let's share your screens and go through the things that we have planned as far as content for this masterclass. There's a lot more than a conversation in moving a funnel over or rebuilding a funnel inside of high level. There's a lot of tech pieces around it. Can you share your strategy in paying attention to how to rebuild a funnel inside of high level?
Sure. So, based on what we just mentioned, that a funnel has so many tentacles that reach out into all these other areas of a business, right? We're today just going to talk about that funnel. There are emails and links and all of these things that come around it that make a funnel work. It's more than just the software, right? So, we're going to talk today just about the let's look at a site and how would we recreate that efficiently and effectively. So let me share my screen and we'll go through some very simple slides and then jump in and out of the software builder, the
Yeah.
HighLevel builder app.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yes, easily recreate a website. And right out of the gate, I want to say that our goal here today is to let you know that you can, yes, you can rebuild anything you want and need in HighLevel. You have to have a belief in HighLevel first. If you don't believe it's going to work, you wouldn't even bother, right? It doesn't need to be so fancy. We get hung up in business on some of the simplest things, and it takes people out of the game. And you may need some code. I would suggest you don't use a lot of code because page load speed is what is really important. And what you need is speed and efficiency, and HighLevel will give you that. There's this objection, if that's the wording you want to use, that HighLevel is so complicated. I'm like, have you used 10 pieces of software in Zapier lately? Don't even come at me with that. It doesn't even make any sense to me, right? I don't have 10 apps open right now to build the next campaign that I'm building. I don't have 10 apps open. I have one app open. That's it, right? So
If you don't mind, Pamela, do you mind clicking that drop down next to slideshow button and
yes,
it'll magnify the slides for us? Go to presenter view.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and then okay, perfect. Yeah, there you go.
And
Okay,
then
awesome. Thank you.
you betcha. So,
I think that's a fair point. We do have no problem building out 13 different softwares and
no.
duct taping it all together,
No.
while the perception of high level it is that it's kind of complicated. I mean, while there is a lot of features and there's a little bit of a learning curve, it
Mhm.
you're right. You don't have to have multiple apps open.
No. Like we just moved into a new house and there's two rooms that we don't use. We may use them. There's one there and the visitors coming in October. It'll get filled up. But we got this idea that somehow I need to master the whole thing right out of the gate. I don't. To build a funnel, I need the funnel or the website. I need a form or a calendar, depending on that piece. And then I need to connect my email, of course, right? Okay, leave the rest of it. Those are three pieces of software that I'm just going to build inside of HighLevel. It's perfect. I don't need all of the other rooms. I've got empty cupboards. I've got junk over sitting in this one, right? Kind of idea. It's the same as moving a house. So that's how I like to look at this. The first thing you do when you go to move, right? The reason you're moving is because something doesn't fit or something isn't working anymore. And HighLevel is a really great forever home. I suggest people get this digital home and they make it a forever home and they step into it and it's a little big right now. She's a little loose, right? There's some things you don't know how to work. You don't know how to, I don't know how to work with a septic tank, just say, for example, right? Like I get a pool out here. I don't have a clue how to work at a pool right now, but that's okay. Get some help with that or just slowly learn it. You get the one of the two options, right? But it's evident that the home that I'm in was no longer working. So it was time to move. And when you go to move, it's exactly the same thing. The first thing we want to do is gather. So your current website or the one that you want to build, and I'll use the words funnel and a website interchangeably today, although they are not strategy wise, but to build in HighLevel, they're exactly the same, except for two pieces. And we may or may not get into that today. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to gather everything and you're going to put it in a folder. And you're not going to put it in the download folder, especially Windows devices. Nobody can ever find that download folder. I've built these live with people and they will download a link for their logo and it'll say 12378.png. And I'm like, what was the name of that file again? We can't find it. You are going to spend more time looking for your logo and your other pieces than is going to take to build the whole thing. So name your files appropriately. And an expert tip is to buy a dummy domain out front. If you are migrating, you want to be sure that your site is live, leave it alone. You're going to be running two pieces of software at the same time until she's fully rebuilt. And we've gone through the 7 steps today. So I recommend a dummy domain. It is not necessary though, and I can show you why. So what do you need to gather? You need to gather all the logos and we're going to do just a smidge of design here because I kind of come from that world as well. You want a square and a rectangle logo based on, usually rectangle is in the top and squares in the bottom in your footer, and you need a light and a dark version. You need images, fonts, colors, and you need HTML color codes inside of HighLevel. You can get the RGBA but we work quickly and effectively with the hex codes. And you need backgrounds like you see color, and in some of my sites, you'll see a few backgrounds. It helps break up if you're building new. If you're coming over, make sure you have what you need. You're going to need some icons and you're going to need to gather all of your links. One of the tips that I have is what I call my marketing spreadsheet. I became famous for it. And it is a spreadsheet that I use that has every single thing I do inside of HighLevel on that spreadsheet. From the root domain to the links inside of HighLevel. If I click on it, it opens right up in HighLevel, right to the folder that workflow's in, right to that folder, right to that calendar, right to that form. So myself and my team knows exactly what we're talking about when we need to do it and we need to make a change. So we're not going to get into the naming conventions and things like that today, but if I go into one more account and somebody says, this isn't working, and I go, which one? And they go, I don't know. I can't find it. And we're spending so much longer. This is why HighLevel feels complicated. It's a user issue that we haven't named and gathered enough and put things in the right places so we can easily find them later, because you can swirl inside of HighLevel very, very quickly. So and you need all of the copy, but if you are copying from another site, just say, for example, I don't have like this one, this is what we're going to show you, but I can grab off another site like this. I can usually grab the copy pretty quickly if I'm gathering, migrating. If it's new, you'll need a Google Doc open with that copy on it. So that's how I start a funnel build, is I make sure I have everything. Looking at the current site, and this is from Webflow. It's a builder because we can migrate ClickFunnels 1.0 funnels over with the click of a button. However, ClickFunnels code is what I call dirty code. So I've seen those never work and have to be rebuilt. And every once in a while they come in nice, and then the next one will just be gobbledygook, and it'll be almost easier to rebuild it. I do know that the ClickFunnels 2.0 builder is migrator thingamajigger is coming, and the rest of it you need to rebuild. So Webflow is a simple, actually, I did not find it simple to build in, and I picked it because I'd never used it before. And I grabbed a template for a funnel that I thought would work great if you're building a software business, say, for example, right? This looks like a pretty good one to work with. And I started rebuilding this one out. So I took a look at this. What do I need to build this? So the first thing I did is I noticed that there are some, okay, I need a demo. Okay, image here, scrolly banner, 2 more images, and I'm making note the size of the images. And I'm going to show you kind of how I figure all of this out, because I came from funnel hacking place, right, where I would hack funnels for a living. So I got really good at doing this. And I knew that there was 9 images on here, the different sizes, and I also knew there was a video. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go gather all of that first. So if you are building for someone else or yourself and you're like, I don't have that image anymore, I don't know what size that image is, I don't know the colors anymore. One of the tricks that I've got for you is Google Chrome extensions. Google Chrome extensions will give you the ability to peek inside back end of a site. Don't copy, please. Just make it your own. And in my experience, even if I go to fully copy this one, it's going to, by the time I get my stuff in and my copy and my images, it's not going to be a carbon copy. It's going to have my swing on it, my personality in it as well. So that's fine, right? But these, and I'll give you these slides. The biggest thing that we want to think about when we are rebuilding is page load speed and SEO right out of the gate. So page load speed is based on all of the junk code. These are the 2 biggest ones. I am nowhere near that level of expert. I 80% everything, just so you know. We'll get you up and running. So I know that page load speed matters in funnels and website loads from Google and et cetera, just user experience. If it takes longer than a second, I'm out, right? So your images and your code matter. So you do not want to bring in an image. I downloaded one off Pexels to do this build here the other day. It was 4,700 pixels by 7,000. So you might be like me or everyone else and go, well, I have no idea how big that image is. Yes, you're right. We don't know, but there is a Chrome extension called the ruler, and I've turned into ruler mode, and I now have these little grids. I can come in here and go like this, just like this. Don't pay attention to X and Y. That's placement on the page, but I know I'm about 550 by 550 pixels. Oh, now I know. So what I do is I grab the picture, and I've got a free site called Photopea. It looks like, it's just got ads. It looks like Photoshop. And I can bring in an image. If I just bring in this one for Pexel, say, for example, I can crop it and I can resize it very quickly and easily. So I won't go through how to do that, but this site is free, and you're going to need to do this before you even get started. So knowing all of this information, I can tell what font is on a site as well. And I also can tell, if I click on this, I can tell what color it is. I can tell the weight. I can tell the size of it as well, along with line height. So if
Love it.
you're looking at something and you're like, I don't know, if you're new like I was, I don't know 27 pixels from 300. Like I didn't. I honestly didn't have a clue. I just did this because somebody asked me, this is how I built my whole business. Somebody asked me if I could help them. I'm like, okay. And I went and figured it out. So this is how I learned it all. Same
I
thing
love it.
with colors. This is pick color from a page. I'm able to grab these color codes from this page. And then I can come back in and I can actually see all the colors I've picked from the page and grab the code.
Wow.
Then what I do is I put it on a notepad, all the colors, my fonts, because I'll forget the name of them. And then I'll just run and copy and paste off of this to make it faster and easier. But imagine if I have all of this out front, how easy this is to keep running. Now, if you're like me and want to screenshot something like this so that I've got it, there's a full, oh, I need permission. And it'll screenshot the whole page for me and I can then use it as a reference and I can keep it. Or I can pass it off to someone else and say, here's the file of what it is that I need done. Could you go ahead and rebuild this for me? And it looks just like this.
Wow.
And I can download that. And it's really easy to build off of. It's easy to send off to someone and say, could you kind of, take this as a template and build me something new? So I love this one. I use it constantly when I'm out and about and I'm taking screenshots of stuff that I think I would like to emulate or it's a design idea. So that's the first thing you're going to do is gather all of the information that you're going to need. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start to place. So
Yes.
you saw this beautiful rebuild, right? Isn't this sexy? No, it's not. It is horrendous. But this is what I want to teach you how to do because this is actually how you're going to get started. So let me show you inside of the builder what I did. I'm not going to show you how I started a website at this time. We will just take it from where I started. And what you need to do is know and understand the HighLevel builder. So the HighLevel builder, we break it down. And actually, I'm going to go to a new page just to show you what it looked like from the start. This is the About page. And what you have to do is think in terms of HighLevel. We have to let go of the way that it builds in something else, or this isn't Divi on WordPress. No, it isn't. Thank you, Jesus, right? We need to think the way that HighLevel thinks when we're looking at something. And this can take a little bit of time or not, depending on how you think. If it's more challenging, you have a different way of thinking. It doesn't reflect on HighLevel, it reflects on how you think as an individual and how you process. That's it. So we're always, always, always thinking in sections, and then we're going to think in rows, then we're going to think in columns, and then we're going to think in elements, just like that. So if I take a look at this, this is how I see things. I split my sites out in sections where it makes sense. And the first thing I'm going to take a look at, because I understand the builder, and that's probably a caveat I should mention as well. There is absolutely nothing that you cannot break or undo, delete. You can't break anything. You can start again. There's nothing that you can absolutely devastatingly just never recover from. So just click. That's been my best friend. I wonder. And we've got undo. We've got, oh my God, back out. Yes, leave before saving. Here we go. Let's do it again. Because I came from the place where there was no save button. So it's like, what? No, or no undo button. Danger, right? So I look at this site and I think to myself, where does it naturally need to break? I know that a section, a color and a background, these two have to be two different sections if I want to keep it simple. If I don't want to have code, which we don't, I know that this is a section, and then I know this is a section because there's a border on the bottom of this whole section. It's a section because it goes all the way across. And then I see a 2-column row. inside another section. And I will probably break this one out right about here.
And by the way, if you're watching this and you've never used High Level, as
Mm,
part of this masterclass in the description, there is a link that's provided to you where you can jump into a 30-day trial,
yeah.
and that'll be, Pamela's affiliated trial essentially, and she may even provide some bonuses to you and support you and give you a ton of tools.
You can get on a call with me and I'll walk you through
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to make sure if you're watching this, you're not overwhelmed because you don't have access to high level yet, or you're just trying to follow or keep up. I just want to make sure you do know that there is a trial offer as part of this masterclass. So you have two different sections that you're kind of identifying essentially.
That's right. So what I'm going to do is just drop in some pieces. The SEO is something I want to touch on. This is not an SEO masterclass by any means, but what I want to show you is how to not muck it up when you're building, which is what most people do. And I'm raising my hand because I did not understand it when I first started, and it's a tremendous amount to go back and fix it. It's important to understand what an H1, H2, H3 are in SEO. And the first thing you need to understand is there's only only one ever H1 on every page. And in this example, I will assume that the H1 is this. This is what Google's going to come looking for. Then I'm going to put H2 in here. And then I'm going to put some bullets. So how I bring in the elements matters. So this is coming in as an H1, right? But this is my first across the top, pardon me, my banner here. This is not my H1. So I need to make sure that I'm not bringing in an H1. So what did I do? I'm just going to delete that. No problem, right? Nobody died. And we're going to bring in the P. And I'm just going to put click here. This isn't a class on copy or anything like that, or design for God's sakes, right? And I'm not going to worry about font size, font color, anything at the moment. But what I will do first is set my typography so that every element that's coming in at basic, it's going to come in with the right headline and content font and the right color. Then I don't have to go back and change it. So I know that my headline font, these are all Google fonts, right? So this is Red Hat Display. This is going to be Pontano, just for shits and giggles. And my link color is a dark brown. So you see how I'm just grabbing that, and this is exactly how this is done.
Wow,
Add color.
you're efficient with this.
I built enough of these and don't want to go back. So now I'm hitting save. I got something I kind of like. I know that this section needs a background color and it's that same brown. I added the brown. I know that this text needs to be the light color, right? So I'll just put white for now, so you're starting to see it come together. It looks horrible. My problem is not wanting to perfect it as I'm going down the road. Because the
Yeah.
moment I start to make this smaller, it causes problems with the ability to grab it later with these little pluses. So I'm just going to keep
Mm,
going. I'm going to do the next one. I know the next one because I know high level. I know this is a menu and I know there are two buttons. So could do a 2-column row or 3-column row. I'm going to do a 3-column just for fun. You can get fancy later. I know that this needs to be full width. So this is just part of the process, right? And I'm going to look for my menu somewhere, wherever it is, navigation menu. I can drag these over, right? Like again, just there it goes. And then I'm going to pop a button in here. And what I'll do is, where's the button? It always comes in this horrendous green, right? What I'll do is I will get the button in the way that I want it to be, and then I will duplicate this out and move this over.
got it. Give us a
Makes
one in the
sense?
chat if you're watching this and you're loving this click by click walkthrough of how to rebuild a funnel inside of high level. Give us a one in the chat if you're loving this so far.
Mhm. I find it really sexy. So, I'm maybe a little geekier than I'd like to admit. The next pieces I can see, I've got a 2-column row, and I'll just start stacking the pieces.
Yeah.
Headline, H1, H2, bullet, two buttons and another bullet and an image. And then we'll do that and then we'll stop. So it's just this simple. I know I want that H1. Then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to make it an H2 just really quickly. I'd probably put my copy in as I go. I'm going to grab the bullet list. I'm going to grab a button, right? You can start to see what's happening. And my tendency to want to touch things as I go is here, right? Like it's all
Yeah.
left aligned. And then I know I need another button. I might duplicate it, I might not. This one, I'm probably going to, and this is where it gets really cool, is I can make this one a right aligned, and I'm going to negative margin this one up. This is where we didn't have this capability not long ago, and I can pull this one up.
Hmm.
Whoops, I tabbed over. And do I know what I'm doing? Do I know what I'm doing? No, I don't know what I'm doing because see, nobody's dying. It's fantastic.
It's
And it just,
funny you're saying that because I used to get PTSD building funnels back in the day in another software because it wouldn't save if you were building for 30 minutes or 40 minutes and you didn't save and something happens, it wouldn't accumulate the progress at all. And then you
yeah,
start over and it was the biggest PTSD ever on building
it's
funnels.
really challenging. A lot of people think that it's high level, high level's wonky, it doesn't save. I'm here to tell you, and I want to almost unshare just so you can see my face. Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi. Like you don't know she's waning in and out. And the moment you go to save things, or your internet sucks, or
Yeah,
your computer sucks, it's not running effectively. High level works. Like it just does. Like if I see
yeah,
one more of those posts, I'm gonna lose my mind, right? But it's
yeah.
just my sarcasm around the absolute uneducated how we are with the internet. We think it works and it just doesn't. So you can start to see what's happening here. It's ugly. We're going to start with we need padding, we need white space, we need all of these things. And I don't usually fuss with a lot of this until I get it laid out, and it's going to look like this.
Mm,
That's okay. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to come back to this. We've got sections, columns, rows, elements, SEO, and we can start to save sections and rows as well, really easily and quickly. This one, if I'm going to replicate it, I can hit save. I can name it as header one or whatever the name is, and I can make it a template or a global section. At the moment, the global section only works inside the same page or the same funnel. It doesn't work outside in the next funnel. This works well when you're building websites and you've got a testimonial section and you've got a footer. So you would start doing that, but you don't save it until it's ready. So you want to walk through the whole build first. And then what I do is walk away. I have a tendency to over design and overdo. I just get blind to it. So the best thing is come back and perfect it later, clean it up later, because when you walk away from it, you're going to see it differently, and you're probably going to redesign it differently than it's in there anyway, right? Rarely have I ever redesigned everything again, right? And then you're going to start with the margins, negative margins, positive margins, padding. There's a difference. We won't get into that today, and negative and positive as well, and our alignments, left align, right align, etc. And then you're going to get into CSS if you need it. I've got more Chrome extensions if you are like me and cannot code, but I can get just enough dangerous to get this done or that done, but I don't use a lot. I try to make it work with the padding and the margins, etc. So this works really well, and we'll drop those for you, no problem. They look like these little icons up here. And then you're going to go to mobile optimization. So I design desktop first. Some people will design mobile first. I get it. I understand why you may or may not do that. I'm thinking that most of us are in the B2B space. B2B if you go into your Google Analytics, and please have that, right? You'll see that most of your traffic is probably on desktop. I also prefer to design in desktop because it's bigger. And designing in mobile and then trying to clean up desktop is, I think, twice as hard. So I'm going to do mobile later,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I rather
right?
build things on desktop and
Build it here first.
yeah.
And then what I'll do is I'll clean it up. And HighLevel, we used to have to do this all with code. Thank you, HighLevel. It now knows I'm on mobile view and I can change my alignment. I can change my font sizes. I know images are coming. I can do my padding. This was a constant code to try to get the spacing on this one. See how it's got that space? Because I put it on desktop. I wanted that 60 pixels, but on mobile, I don't. So I want to make sure that this here or in the section, I've got to get a hold of it, right? And get rid of that 60 on here. Let's bring her up where she belongs. Makes sense?
Awesome. Yep,
So
absolutely.
mobile optimize is very, very important. Text, images, alignment, spacing are the biggies. So let's talk. Let me go. How do I go back? What was I going to? Images. This is a tip. This image, a lot of times people will go width and height for the measurement. You do not ever want to do height. You want to just do width and let the computer resize it based on its own, whatever screen size she's loading on, because the internet will do it and it will skew it up. Somebody sent a
Mm.
screenshot of my newsletter the other day and my team member put height and width and it was a 16:9 kind of landscape image, but on mobile, she tried to turn her square. It was ugly, right? So just adjust your width, leave the height alone, and that will help it look a lot better. And then we are going to automate. So you'll notice on this example here, if I scroll down all the way to the bottom, there's an opt-in down here. You may have a couple of opt-ins on here for some of your calls to actions, things like that. When you're in the gather stage, you're going to have all those links, right? Or you may need to rebuild them inside of HighLevel as well, but you want to make sure that you have the automations next. So those can take a little bit more. I'm talking about the menu on it, and I'm talking about the forms. Do not start with the menu on this until everything is fully built, because you're talking domains and URLs and paths and all that fancy stuff. And you're going to, that's why we walk into the Go High Level group and people are saying every day, page not coming up. We've done something with the domain URL/path. So leave the menu alone, leave the domain alone until the end. When you watch me build funnels, I'll build the domain first to make sure it's correct, but 90% of the time it's because I bought a new domain for that offer.
Mm.
The next thing, you're going to test. You're not going to test. I'm going to scream it. You're not going to test 500 times. You're going to test at the very, 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 very end, because of browser caching system. It recognizes you. It knows it's the same damn email address, and it gets tripped up in the system and we can't see it clearly and we think it's not working. 9 times out of 10, when I go in to test something and I just put it on a different browser, it's working fine. So people panic and then they make changes based on misinformation. So you want to try a new email address every time. So if you've got Paulson Thomas at gohighlevel.com, the first time you test it, the next time you test it, it's going to be Paulson Thomas +1. With the actual +1, Google thinks it's a new Google knows it's the same email address, but the system thinks it's new. So it's
Mm.
going to give you, and you're going to see it differently. And you want to
Okay.
get in ahead of your people by a couple of days so you can make changes. Use a
I
different
love that.
browser and don't overtest. Check all links in everything, 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 everything. Test all opt-ins. Do the automations kick in, right? And then last but not least, you're going to speed test. So what is it? GT metrics. I can never remember the ones that I always use to test. There's my spelling. We've been doing pretty good with spelling. Speed test it and find out what's wrong. It'll be code and it'll be images right out of the gate. But if you follow this, you should be okay. And then, yeah, your goddamn code and your images. And then you're going to connect the tech on the back end, which is your domain, your root domain, your past URLs, right? And then you're going to add some tracking code. You're going to add your favicon. You're going to reset your stats. So that's the back end look of this thing. Oh, it warned me. Save that beautiful site, Pamela. Off we go. We're going to go to the back end on a website. We're going to come in to settings. We'll pull the domain in and we'll change our path if we need to. We'll add in our Facebook, Google, G4, Google Tag
Pixel,
Manager,
all
all
the
of these
pixel
things
codes. Yeah.
need to be in here.
Yeah.
And then your favicon URL, make sure I'm judgy. If you don't have a favicon in your funnel, I'm going to judge you, right? So just so you know, but they're those simple, what I call lipstick on a funnel, right? The favicon, please don't send me a link that says this or the /123 dash page dash thank you dash page dash thank you dash page, right? Those ones. And those come in on a website here under settings. See, business name, homepage, you got to change this. No two paths on the internet can ever be the same. So I would put home one on this, right? And I would probably put, and this is the naming conventions that you'd come up with at the end once you know how many pages you want, right? Because it always changes. And then this one would be home. And I would update that. You can add your chat widget and things from there, but that's how I would walk through a funnel build.
I
Makes
love it.
sense?
I love it. I think most of the issue when it comes to rebuilding anything inside of high level, it's the organization of information. The people
Yes.
don't prepare their folders right, the assets, the digital assets, they don't put together all the different
Mm.
details on the project before they just start the project. They'll start the project and then go find all the details after, which is where, they run into issues that way.
Every
Um,
single time. And it makes it harder for someone like myself to come in and assist you. It makes it harder for you to be very clear on what it is you are needing to do and where is it. So when you come into my accounts, or if I build something and help you build something, if it's company level, it says PJD. And then it's PJD website, PJ website form one, PJ calendar one, PJ, and then everything, the form, the workflow folder, the workflow, the email that goes with it, everything. And I know exactly what's happening. So that helps with the organization, but you can't come like it's like moving a house with you. If you're chucking everything in boxes, think about how long it takes to reorganize it in your house, right? So when you're talking about your business, if you want to scale, this is one of the biggest problems that I find when I help someone scale is I can't tell where their current business is at. And I can't find the tag that we need because they don't remember what it is. They don't have a clue. I'm like, oh, okay, it could be this one, it could be that one. And you're right, it could be. And what happens is they can't build. So I'll just share my marketing spreadsheet really quickly with you, and I can
yeah,
show you my personal one as well. I have a legend that I use first.
if you
So
don't
my
mind
white label
zooming in,
version
if
is,
you don't
oh,
mind
not
zooming
sharing the
in
screen.
too.
Am I not sharing it?
You are sharing it, but I'm
Oh,
saying
good.
if you don't mind zooming in to
That's right.
maybe
Because I put everything at 80% because
there we
so
go.
what I
Awesome.
do is I use the square bracket, and my white labeled version of HighLevel is called Client Tracks. I don't sell it, but I've white labeled it, right? So it's CT. So I immediately know, okay, that's Client Tracks. I've got migration mastery offer. Same thing. So my team knows what does MM stand for, and then is that an active funnel or not? So
Mm.
here's an example of something that I've done. So what's the client tracks link for this funnel? It opens it right into my HighLevel white labeled version. Here's the favicon, because you're going to have to back out of the funnel and come find it, right? In the media library, that's where it should be sitting. And then what's
Yeah.
my root domain, and is it in Cloudflare? We didn't touch on Cloudflare. If
Yeah.
you don't put it on Cloudflare, I'm like, are you taking your business seriously, right? So then I've got the trigger links as well, because when you go to build inside of an email, one of the things with HighLevel is the trigger links. When you click on it and you add it in an email, when you go to look at that link later, if you didn't put the name of the link, you don't know what the name of it is to go change it. So you want to make sure that you've documented what is the name of the link that you're using and what is the link, etc., that is actually on there, right? Then your social workflows, because you're using those too, right? It's comment guide. These are the Facebook ones. These are the Instagram ones that actually work with this funnel. Here's the funnel. Here's the opt-in and the thank you. These are the actual full URLs. This is the Go High Level. This is the form that belongs to it. And this is the workflow that belongs to that. It opens right up inside of my HighLevel account. So I don't have to fuck around with it, right? I just like, boom, here she goes. So imagine you knowing that you need to come in and change that and you don't know what it's called. Well, I know that this workflow is 00. It's the first step of somebody coming into my world. So they're numbered this way. It's RR and it's a lead magnet and it's the workflow. Because I am crazy and I don't sometimes know, am I in workflow? Am I in funnel? Am I in form? Am I in, because I'm moving too fast. Same thing, RRLM form submitted, add RRLM tag. Number one, wait, email two, right? It's very clear what's happening and I know exactly how to go find it. All of my stuff is named this way.
I love it.
It's
I
right.
love
So
it.
it's
So, quick
really
question on
important.
this. I love how organized you are and how things are all structured. And how do you deal with a customer who doesn't have all their stuff in place? Like if they're brand new coming to you and you're
Right.
not really rebuilding something, but if you're starting from scratch, how do you coach a customer up to that preparation mode so we can build the right things for them? Help us understand those conversations.
So the first thing I ask someone when they start working with me is, do you have a visible brand, like color codes, things like that, a set of fonts, etc. And usually the level of business owner that I work with has something. However, when we go in and we're building software businesses, which is kind of my specialty, that brand isn't built usually. So we're talking about how to name things, and then we go into something simple like Canva, and we'll build a simple brand board that we can start to build something off of. We'll get a logo made, and 9 times out of 10, it's just like, what can we get up that looks decent? Because we haven't tested anything. Don't spend millions of dollars on a brand. I didn't show you fonts, but a lot of times, like with Webflow, we know that HighLevel uses Google fonts. So we'll go to fonts.google.com and we'll choose the two fonts and we'll get those started. Those are usually we can pull them into Canva as well. So we've got something
Yeah.
to kind of get started, right? And then we just start with we usually need copy next, right? But before that, we need an offer. We need to know what the offer is. So that's the piece that we start really talking about. Sometimes the offer's fleshed out, sometimes it's not. It depends on where it's at, but we usually have something. And then we go and see, what do you currently have? So when you go from your house to a new house, you know the furniture is going to fit here, but not this one. And I don't have a dresser there, and that doesn't work. You do the same thing when you're moving into software and moving into what assets do you already have? What could you take? You've got an opt-in offer for that, and that welcome series, you could probably reword that, right? Or I've got 5,000 templates for everything that you'd probably want to build. I built it already, and we would just pop it in and get started. So I have a webinar funnel, a SLO funnel, application funnel, calendar funnel, link tree funnel, all of these funnels. And it's just like, let's put your colors on it. Let's run it and see if it works,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And
like the
branding is important.
staging, it's like the staging company coming in and just setting
Yeah,
it all up for you if that's easier for
right.
you.
Right. So it's a conversation, but usually when someone's coming into HighLevel, they've got something already, right? They're working on something already and they're pretty good, usually pretty good at that, know themselves and their customers well enough that that's not the hardest part. The hardest part is usually the offer, trying to determine the offer.
Absolutely.
The funnel is determined by the offer, right? And how we build. So
So Pamela, Final thoughts on this masterclass. We talked about rebuilding funnels and even essentially websites inside of high level. What are your overarching final thoughts on, think the do's and don'ts, the pros and cons
Mm.
of moving into high level with funnels?
It's going to take longer than you think it will. Give yourself some grace. I don't know about you, but just like moving a house, sure as shit, the moving van got a flat tire. Like there's always going to be something, and not that's not true. But I build my calendar and my day with 2 30-minute slots that are just I'm doing nothing. They get filled up with an emergency or whatever. And I would love you to take and block that time off in the calendar of the funnel rebuild at a time where you have access to help. Sunday night at midnight is not always the best time. I understand as business owners, that's where we might slot it in, but it's best to put it in at a time where you can access help. Now, on a Sunday night, if I know you're rebuilding, I may be available, right? But who knows? Would be a conversation we'd have ahead of time, right? But the unrealistic expectations of what it looks like. Think about the last time you moved a house, it always took longer and there were 3 things that went wrong. High level, oh, it went down. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lordy. Well, isn't that normal, right? Doesn't the internet go down? Doesn't my computer crash? Those sorts of things. So high level doesn't go down. They think it goes down. It doesn't go down. So it's always leave enough time, but it's in the preparation. Slow is fast. And I'm saying that to me more than I'm probably saying it to a lot of you. You're probably a lot more patient than I am, but it's like slow down to speed up. Gather and build it slow. Building it twice is busy work. It gives us that dopamine hit that you and I are like wired for. That's all that that is. If we know that about ourselves, that why do we gain and lose 50 pounds 10 times versus just holding on? Right? It's the dopamine hit, and I got nothing better to do, and it fills my time and it makes me feel important. Like we can go down that road if you'd like to, but it happens in business all the time. I see it all the time with business owners. They will crash and burn 500 times rather than just slow it down and deal with yourself and let's get this thing built, right? They'll get hung up on the logo. You see it in the Facebook group. They're hung up on high level, won't do this, so that's it. I'm like, where's the focus? The focus needs to be how can we make this work because it'll work, it'll make money if we can just get past some of these things. But we need to be aware, self-aware of why we're doing the things we actually are doing and not doing. Like the biggest blessing I think we have in life is all the bad shit that doesn't happen. But we don't focus on that, do we? We focus on all the problems, right? But life is
Yeah.
pretty good for most of us. So my level's pretty
So
good for most of us. Yeah.
it definitely is, you know, becoming a household conversation in a good way.
Yes.
And we're seeing the trends of that. So for those of the folks that are kind of on the fence and they're watching the master class, and I know as part of this master class, we're providing a 30-day trial to the 297 plan. Pamela, what all do you provide as an affiliate? If you don't mind sharing some of the resources. I know you have a community, if I'm not mistaken, and you
Correct.
have your own live calls and office hours, and I think you also do one-on-one calls. Can you share a bit about the things you provide when they jump into this 30-day trial with the masterclass?
My whole goal is for you to be successful. There's no need in spending any time, energy, and money on something that is just a waste of time. So first of all, high level is never, ever, ever going to be a waste of time. I've dealt with a lot of software, I've dealt with a lot of companies, and I've done a lot in the interwebs, and high level is the best place to put your business. So you need a foundation, you need a house. This is the best house. And then you need some housekeepers and you need some grounds people and you might need a mechanic and somebody to fix the pool. Well, I do all of that. I've been around, and because I was not not whatever great at business to start with, I made so many mistakes and spent so much money and learned so much that I can help you fix your pool. Does that make sense? Like I can fix your car and fix your pool. I can do the branding, we do the offer, we can do the tech, we can do the mindset, we can do all of these things, and you have access to me. So the number one thing, because there's so many people out there that you get to choose from, right? You need to choose somebody. You don't want the snapshots. I'm telling you right now, please, for the love of Jesus, I'm going to take a drink because it works me up. The snapshots
Oh man.
are busy work and you're going to have to redo them because it's not going to fit your business. You don't want somebody else's business, but I will give you all the snapshots. Just to the dopamine hit, here you go, you get them. What
Check the
you need,
box off.
yeah. Okay, which ones do you want? If not, we'll build them together. Right. But there probably isn't anything I don't already have because I've built this so many times for people. What you need is access. You need to be able to talk to the person when you have those three questions. And I don't know what your three questions are, but you're going to have three questions that are unique to you that are stopping you. I was on a coaching call already this morning. Same, I had a question, couldn't get past it. Okay. Boom, kicked me over that one, run a little bit longer, leapfrog me forward, right? And I'll come up against the next, whatever's going on in my head. Some of them feel really real, right? They're really not, but you need someone to help you. And then some of them are just techie. So I've got you on Voxer. Lady said to me yesterday, I know I can't see it. Where is it? I can't get the offer to show up. I said, oh, go here and here and here, and here it is, right? So she's boom, boom, boom. She's able to go. And what is she able to do? Which is what we stand for around here. She's making money for herself and her family selling the website that she's actually building for this person in their SaaS. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to leapfrog you. This is what we do here, right? So you're going to get that. You can get all the courses that I've ever created, which are hundreds, from migration mastery to how to reactivate leads to how to sell whatever, right? Revenue Reinvented, I think, is the one you kind of just saw in that spreadsheet. So that plus 2 live calls a week, and we'll do 6 if you need 6, but right now we got 2, full group of people. And what else do you need?
Nothing else. I think that's more
Right?
than enough for anybody that
Yeah.
is getting started. I think the key inside of high level from observation of, I don't know, when I jumped into this world of high level, we were at, I want to say 1,100 total businesses or agencies, or maybe 1050. It was a little over 1,000. And
Really?
I think we're well past 75,000 now.
Right.
And and the pattern that I see, Pamela, is companionship. It's
Yeah.
you have to have a friend
Mhm.
inside of high level that you kind of create an accountability with, and that
Absolutely.
moves you way fast. That moves you so fast that people don't they underestimate it. They're like, if you had at least one person to just bounce ideas off of, or it doesn't even have to be a mentorship student relationship. It just needs to be a friendship of some kind where you have a common ground of technology or marketing or even sales. If you talk to a salesperson, you're like, yeah, I round robin these calendars, so I'm more efficient with my, used AI to do this and that. Like if even if you just had one person to bounce this whole thing off of, I think you'll do really well. And entrepreneurship is typically lonely. We can't go to our family dinners and friends gatherings and relate to most people because they live in a different world, and we as entrepreneurs live in a different world. So I think the key is that finding your person inside of high level world is the golden ticket, if you ask me.
It's
Pamela.
actually the answer to everything. But we don't know, right? You call it a trauma response, you could call it whatever you want, but we've got this fierce individuality, this thing going on. And we were taught in school, don't look at your friend's paper because you're going to fail, right? It's cheating. This is a different world that we're living in. And I was on a call yesterday talking to a bunch of women who build websites. And I'm like, when you go to ride a bike, you first of all are not reading a book on how to ride a bike. You're riding a bike and somebody's got the handlebar on the back of your banana seat. Somebody's got you. You need somebody to hold that seat. You need somebody that's there when you fall off that bike, right? And I'll leave you with this. Oprah Winfrey, if you don't listen to me, fine, listen to Oprah. I was on a podcast listening, or no, I was listening to a podcast about why he was at her table and he understood why she was successful. And it was because she never ate alone. Every time she has a gathering, she's gathered all of the people around her that were smarter than her, in different industries than her, and at her table was a wide array of people all the time that guided her. We think people do this alone. They do not. We do not. It's not possible. But something in our mindset or in our history or something has taught us that this is, I can't talk to anybody about this, or I'm embarrassed, or what if I ask silly questions, or then I can't really claim I did this and this. Get rid of it all. Get rid of it all. Find some help. When I started funnel building, I'll tell you this story and then we'll end. I was in a Facebook group. Somebody said, go talk to people, go help people. That's the tip. In case you're wondering how to build any business, just go help people and help them for free. I was helping people for free in this group over and over and over and over again. And then one day somebody gets on and I decide the first time I'm going to charge. I said $200. I was going to move her webinar funnel over into this other piece of software, right? I can do that. I thought it was going to be easy. I'd done it before, but there was another piece of software somewhere in the back that I'd never seen before in my life. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I told I would have it by 5 o'clock today. And I thought I was going to die. First, I gave my word. Second, I don't know how to fix it. What am I going to do? I'm embarrassed. So I do the only thing that I knew how to do at that time. And I had to force myself, go into a Facebook group that I was a part of, another community, and said, does anybody know how to fix this? I need help. One lady, Rose Guthrie, got on that call with me. I said, I will give you all the money she gave me. Can you help me? I gave Rose the $200, which is way under what she would have charged me to fix it. She fixed it. I went back to the lady and said, I apologize. I've run into a hiccup. I don't know how to fix this, but I have hired someone else to help me. It's not going to charge you any more, but I would like 2 extra hours, please. Oh, I'm almost going to cry. It was so emotional for me. You know, Rose and I still together are like this.
Wow. Yep.
She helps me, I help her. We help each other with everything. Middle of the night, doesn't matter. We developed a bond and a friendship, and
Yep.
we are caring and helpful and generous to each other. It doesn't always work, but that was where I learned very early on, I couldn't do this alone, because you're going to get into that funnel building and go, what am I doing when I can't fix it? You call me. You
Yeah.
call your friend, you call someone else. Don't sit with this and then say to yourself, which is bullshit, that HighLevel is complicated and doesn't work.
I love it. And you need friends that are honest about your work, right? They're not gonna just
Tell you
sugarcoat
the
and tell
truth.
you and compliment you all day long.
I'm that person.
I don't like
I don't mamby
compliments.
pamby nobody.
Yep.
I care so much that I don't care. And what I mean is, I care about you more than what you think of me.
Correct. I love that.
But it takes guts. It takes guts. I don't know where I got that from.
Well,
Well,
you go through a lot of trials and tribulations in business where you wished that's how people treated you. And early on, when I didn't do well in business, I needed people to tell me, "Hey, this doesn't
you're
look
off
that
base.
good. Th this needs to be corrected."
Yeah,
So then you develop these opinions that you can stand on from the experiences you've had. But
right.
Pamela, I had a great time doing this master class. It's always a pleasure
Absolutely.
being around you and learning from you as well. If any of you are watching this masterclass, we talked about rebuilding funnels inside of high level. It is a huge component to a couple of your early steps into migrating into high level as a whole. It's a big component of small business owners today. Having a funnel is a key component to capturing, nurturing, and closing leads left and right. And there's a lot of nuances to it. So if rewatch this if you didn't get a chance, and if you're watching this from far away and you're not part of the high level family, there's a link below that you can jump into a 30-day trial under Pamela, and she'll give you a ton of cool things that are part of her affiliate offer. So reach out to her. We're excited for you to be part of the family. Pamela, thank you again for saying yes. Hope you have a
Absolutely.
good rest of your weekend.
HighLevel has changed my life, and that's the goal, is to get you on a 30-day free trial with no real commitment, and let's see if it can change yours as well.